That's
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the dating show. Our first bachelor. He's a photographer. He's hung like a fucking horse. He's very creative. He's got the coolest pink hat in all of Manhattan. Ladies, are you ready?
Else is in the house. We have the number one videographer, cinematographer, photographer of all time.
Creative mind, next generation creative mind.
People are calling him the Little Wayne of his discipline.
Why'd you laugh? I like Little Wayne. I'm a huge Little Wayne fan.
Oh, really?
You laughed at that. Yeah.
Like, when do you think he peaked?
Carter 2? Carter 3?
So that's like what, probably 8 years ago or something?
Yeah, or more.
Maybe, yeah.
Carter 3 was 2007 or 8.
I heard he used to have some talent.
Drought 1, 2. Even the new one isn't that bad. He came out with just a mixtape. There's a lot of beef going on. I feel like there doesn't a lot of beef happening in the music genres that you listen to.
Yeah.
But this goes like to business beef was actually pretty lame. The guy who did kind of raise him, so it's a little hairy, is basically kind of holding on to his contract and supposedly not paying him. So then he can't drop a real album. So he's just dropping free music left and right. But we can move on.
Can we introduce Alice in the house?
I did. I said Bachelor of the
say what
Year.
up, Alice?
What's happening, guys?
Oh, what's happening?
cracking?
What's cracking, guys? In your what's happening?
We're
guys?
here with the main man.
The Cheshire Cat, the main man himself.
Cheshire Cat's
Alice,
a good name.
Alice, how long have you known me for?
Almost 5 years.
How long have you watched him for?
Almost 7.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh, that's not bad.
That is impressive.
That is not bad.
That's longer than I've watched you.
Wow.
Way too long.
Way
Yeah.
too long. What's
Agreed.
that supposed to mean, Alice?
I've probably watched you 5 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know how long I've watched you?
0.
Never.
That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, on one video I saw it pop up on the feed
That's
and
fine.
I was like,
That's fine. Your loss.
I give it likes though. I give them likes.
I don't need it.
Oh, you don't need it.
I don't need pity
You're strong,
likes.
independent.
I've always enjoyed your dancing.
Thank you, buddy.
I just hope
Thank
you know
you.
that.
We could do a
Like
music video
in
today.
a sexual way or just as a strictly platonic, admiring someone else, gifted in a certain skill way?
Why not both?
Yeah, why not both?
Why not both?
Don't put me in Alice in a box.
Platonic implies that it's not sexual. So
Why are you talking about like
You know.
earthquakes and stuff? What does that have to do
Earthquakes,
with
It all
nothing?
depends on the mood.
tectonic plates and shit. Alice, where are you from?
Iraq.
And what was it like growing up in Iraq?
Yeah, when'd you move to the Torontos?
Okay, so this is really weird because I'm talking like I'm on a podcast right now. It doesn't sound
Because
like
this
it.
is a
Hey,
podcast.
put that large, put that large black thing in your hand
right
a
near
little bit
your
closer
mouth.
to your mouth.
I was going to
Sorry.
say that just before we go on, guys, Alice has been working with me now for the last 2 years. He first reached out to me to do a photo shoot in 2013. This was at the point where
Is
Alice
this topless
was into
or not
fitness,
topless, you
And he
two?
said, hey, man, like big fan, blah, blah, blah. And we did the photo shoot. So that's how we met
Naked?
originally.
Not naked.
And now Alice has been working with me, and I would give him a very modest review. I think he's been doing a great job.
His pictures, if you aren't following me, you could follow me on
If you're
Silent Mike
artistically
with 2Ks.
inclined.
And the latest pictures that are actually probably good are all done by us.
Thank you.
So Alice captures the soul via his photographs.
And he's a little bit different demo from
I
us.
thought you just said he's a little dim. I was like, what? Why did you
I mean, things can get a bit dark around me, but that's just me.
He's a little bit younger than us, which keeps
Yeah.
us young and fruitful. So is Connor, the kid that does
Yeah,
all
Alice,
my
what, you're
film.
14?
I look like I'm older than you, but I probably am younger than you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, so you grew up in Iraq until what time?
Till about 6, and then my family decided to move right before the shitstorm that went down, basically around 2001.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the Cartoon Network, that Rainbow Fish. I'm sorry, I don't
Rainbow
have to be
Fish?
in my mouth. Okay.
Rainbow Fish?
Yeah, it was a
Rainbow
fucking
Fish.
cartoon
Never heard of it.
about
I
rainbow
heard-
fish.
oh,
Is there not a show about a rainbow fish, Ryan?
What was the name? Rainbow Fish?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the Rainbow Fish.
On Cartoon Network.
Yes, it was
In Iraq?
fantastic. No, in
Oh.
Canada.
Oh, all right.
And then 9/11 happened, and then we're like, that was literally 3-4 months after we moved,
And then you got thrown in Guantanamo Bay.
and that's when waterboarding
And that's
began.
where you met Nadim.
And that's where you met Nadim.
Who's Nadim? I don't know. We pretend
you
like
don't
we
know
don't
You
know.
don't know Nadim?
No.
He does
No.
all Bars videos and things. He's
Yeah,
one
no,
of my
sorry.
best friends.
Sorry,
Hi,
sorry,
Nadim.
Nadim.
Nadim, I miss you. You'll meet him one day.
Go on.
Yeah. And honestly, that's kind of been the story.
So you consider
That's-
yourself a rainbow fish?
Only on Sundays.
Where does rainbow fish play a role in that story?
Yeah, I like how you just- that was the one that you're like, so I grew up in Iraq and I used to watch this show, Rainbow Fish. I'm like, what? That's it? You don't want to
I'm
talk
gonna-
about like the
where's my
difference in the
phone?
culture, the like weather, the temperature.
Yeah, we'll talk movies.
Alice, just before we go on, if you had to describe Iraq in 2 words, what would you say? I have some idea, but I don't know. Would you say it's the bomb?
Wah, wah, wah.
Alice makes all these jokes off camera and then
No,
Wow.
I would
Just so you
say,
know.
I don't have 2 words for it, but I would say
Yeah.
when I was there, when I was living there, it wasn't exactly what you saw on television. Every single piece of televised bit of Iraq that you've seen is just basically the shitstorm that was already going down or that had already gone down. And basically, when you actually live there, it's way nicer. People are friendlier. And the environment is much cleaner than it appears. So, like, there wasn't exactly a fucking car explosion on every street corner. But at the same time, I do recall a time in my life where my dad was putting up tape across the windows so that the explosions in the distance would not affect our house.
You remember some of this?
Yes.
No,
so
he
I also
remember seeing dead bodies on TV all the time.
That was the thing they used to do. So propaganda was a really big thing, part of the Saddam Hussein regime, basically. Yeah. And I'm not too politically informed when it comes to this, but I do know he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, fair.
He's no George Bush, but then again, I mean, which political leader is exactly perfect?
I heard Saddam's hanging around somewhere or whatever.
I hope not.
No, I mean, he got hung.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Oh my God. Omar's bringing it today.
I'm being edgy. You know why? Because you guys might not see this. Else off camera is very edgy. And so I'm just trying to bring the comfort level of the edginess.
Well, we're in the middle of a serious conversation, so I'm not really sure how to bring out edgy jokes.
I'm going to go more comedic here, or at least lighthearted from that.
No, I thought that was beautiful what you said, Else, about like the people, the place being far friendlier. It's obviously not as it's depicted on the news. Of course. Because all we see is war.
Well, if we're talking about the news, it's all about the dark and grim because that's basically the only thing that's going to make someone's head turn and say, oh, CNN?
Or
what's on there now?
Or watch anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's like, a panda was rescued from a fucking zoo.
Yeah, no one cares.
No one cares. Yeah. Trump says that girls are, fucking less than men. Then, okay.
That brings up his boy Trump. I was going to say that, talk to me now when you said that statement. What do you guys think? There should be not a network, but a TV show called just Good News. And it's just positive stories.
So I heard
a 30-minute segment one time a week of just good shit.
I heard someone try to start that on YouTube and it bombed.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's very sad.
I think Connor was telling me. I don't know the channel. But no, there's no way that lasts on TV.
Yeah.
You know what that's called? Sports Center. That's the only happy news that, that's like in positive light. Like, oh, so-and-so won. Or like, that's the only shit that's actually positive in the news.
But then again, there's always going to be the other side that's going to be angry about it.
Sure, but they don't cover that as much. They always cover the champion. They don't interview the loser. We're flipping topics because this is going to go multi-generational here.
Wow.
So one of my favorite magazines growing up, even though I wasn't that into magazines, but the culture, etc., was Complex.
Yep.
And now that Complex moved, they're one of the few companies that I've found that have really crossed the border of kind of a paperback book or magazine and crossed into the internet where they have very successful YouTube shows, their Instagram, they stayed relevant.
Is the first We Feast, that's
Complex. Yeah, that's Complex.
Which is one of many shows. That
Everyday Struggle. They have a bunch of different things. But even their Instagram is just kind of culture. And even though it's kind of hip hop, this particular post is not. So yesterday they did 90s throwback movies on Thursdays.
Right.
And so they posted this picture from, I believe, probably like a 1996 Batman.
So I'm going to have to try and see if I know it or what.
No, I'm just going to say, because we're all...
Is it Val Kilmer? Because I just got to say that Val Kilmer is a highly underrated actor.
We're getting there. So we're all about the same generation, although Alice is a slightly younger.
2 years.
But we're still in the same... I don't know Red Fish, but we know a lot of the same shit.
Rainbow Fish.
I don't know Blue Fish, Red Fish, Green Fish, Blue Fish.
Showed Rainbow Fish.
No, that was in Canada.
No.
And I just remember being at fucking in the place we were staying at temporarily was basically like we're just chilling there. Fucking
and all they had was Cartoon Network and Playgirl.
Pretty much. And then boom, CNN world just went to shit.
Fair. What is the best? I know your opinion already, but we're going to do it. What is the best Batman? So I think, like everything else, I like to break things up, right? Because these latest trilogy is a little more serious. Some of the 90s, a little more fun when Arnold's popping in there and shit. They posted a picture with, what's his name as Penguin.
Oh, Danny DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito was Penguin, and they said, what's the best?
We can talk Batman. Oh, so have you seen all the Batman movies?
I've seen them all, but I have a shit memory. I just remember the most recent ones.
So I'm a little more shit too. I haven't seen the probably previous to 90s, but I remember in the 90s growing up that these were the biggest shit ever. Like
you saw the original Tim Burton, Batman, and that'd be like mid 80s.
I don't know if I have.
Ghostbusters 84, first Batman, Tim Burton 89, and then Batman Returns is 91 or 92.
So I'm talking against Batman Returns. I don't think I've seen the Tim Burton, which maybe I'll watch tonight because I love Batman.
You should. It's iconic. Danny Elfman does the score. It's fantastic.
So this one though, I remember just taking over the world.
So Batman Forever
Returns, I believe. Both. So Forever's Arnold.
So Batman is that? There's Batman Forever, and then what came after Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
that was the fourth one. The fourth one, Batman and Robin, has Arnold Schwarzenegger.
As
Batman
Mr.
Forever
Freeze.
has Jim Carrey, Val Kilmer,
Who's
Nicole
Poison?
Kidman.
Poison.
Yeah, that's
Poison
Uma Thurman, and that's the fourth one, Batman and Robin.
So I remember all three of those kind of. I guess Return Forever and Batman and Robin.
So which before the Nolan series is your favorite?
Probably it's kind of the corniest. Isn't Bane like a big blue thing with like tubes going through him?
Sucks.
Yeah, because it's corny, I kind of like it, and just because of nostalgia, I liked it. I haven't seen them since I was a kid. The only ones I've seen as even close to an adult are the Christian Bale ones. But I remember it being a phenomena. Like every drive-through you go to, like every cup has, McDonald's
they
had a
used
cup
to do
on
those
it.
tie-ins that were huge.
Yeah,
I remember
cereal,
Jurassic Park. I remember
all that.
What's the big
marketing
one
was amazing.
It's faded. Is it's the one where they Stargate. Stargate was a movie that came out. There's a lot of movies that have been lost in time.
Yeah,
Batman and Robin was big. Out of the original, let's say 4, by far the Burton ones, in my opinion, are the best.
Is that the same Batman though, or no? It's a different series.
So they are all separate movies because
you.
each one had a different Batman.
Yeah,
Except
Clooney
the first two.
was one, right?
Yeah, Clooney sucked. Val Kilmer, his role was all right. I think Val Kilmer is probably one of the most underrated Hollywood actors of that time.
Yeah.
Like his performance as Doc Holliday in Tombstone is one of the roles that probably honestly should have won an Oscar. I was going to say that Tim Burton's Batman, so he had that iconic kind of gothic German expressionist style where it's very slanted, the buildings that they had. So it was very iconic from a visual perspective. The music, Danny Elfman did the score.
Legendary.
That now he does all Burton scores that all, so dun, 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 dun. It's fantastic. I think Michael Keaton, what was very impressive about him.
He's in the 90s.
This is the late 80s. So that's 89. Batman, the first Batman was 89.
Keaton was 90s.
Michael Keaton was 89. And then the second one was 91 or 92.
I saw those.
And they had Vicky Vale. Hello, Vicky Vale. They had Kim Basinger. She was hot in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
I saw that.
And
That was
last
great.
but not least, you had my man, Prince.
Yeah.
Do the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Party Man.
I think they're all good.
Future.
I think obviously the Christian Bale ones took it to a next level. And I think they changed the route of a lot of superhero movies where a lot of them at the time, like imagine the first X-Men. I don't know if you've seen that.
I did not like
I
it.
would say they did that for at least DC because that was the direction that really helped DC like move forward.
Yeah, like the first
then
X-Men
again,
is trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No, I will say this: most superhero movies are trash. I would say Nolan as a director is a far not than Burton, but if we talk about Batman Forever and Batman Robin, a far more capable director, and so those movies are quite good. Batman
they're amazing.
Begins, I would say Batman Begins is very enjoyable, quite good. The Dark Knight, I think, is an excellent movie, and then I would say the last one.
Yeah, no, that's your favorite.
It's flawed. I would actually pick the Dark Knight.
They're
probably
all flawed.
No, I was going to say the Bane one. I could break it down. I was going to say one disappointing part. I think they're just different flavors. I think Burton, compared to what came before, has been the most revolutionary in terms of one movie because he set the tone. If you watch Batman again, it actually is pretty, for the time, it's pretty damn dark.
Yeah.
And also, Gotham had an actual feel to it. Gotham had a character and a personality. In the Christopher Nolan films, a large complaint I had and a lot of people had is that the movies felt like they could have took place in New York, Chicago, any big city.
I thought that's the goal, though, of Gotham.
No, Gotham has its own living, breathing in the comic books.
Well, I guess
feel. It's its own like
sure, but I guess
city.
like you said, it is perspective because I think maybe their goal was that it could be New York, even though the comic book's goal is to make their own world. This was maybe to make it more.
Mike, let me get into them, buddy, because the whole argument by Bane and Ra's al Ghul and and those folks is that Gotham's not worth saving, that the people are trash, but they don't show any of the people, so you have no perspective on whether they're worth saving or not, or any idea of the character. I think
so they don't. They try to lay some lines down with it, right? That the mobs run in the city and whatever the fuck guy's name and the law's all fucked up. They try to lay those lines, but I agree that they don't build a ton of storyline behind the city itself.
I'm just gonna give a really unpopular opinion.
Hit it, bro.
Here, and
it's your opinion. Fuck these people. You tell them, Mouse.
Are you gonna say Batman and Superman like my boy Rube?
Fuck no.
Okay.
I would just say that for most people going to see movies, I think not close enough. All right.
No. It just tilted up, buddy.
Cool. I would say most people going into a movie are not really going into it to analyze it.
So that's where I
think like
I think it's a great
experience.
Exactly, and that's the best way I describe it. Is like I go to a movie to turn off my brain, and that's why I'm gonna proudly and openly say some of my favorite movies have been by Adam Sandler, including the Zohan.
Yeah, you can't be mad at Adam Sandler. So there's a big different conversation. It's the same thing when I talk music. Everyone's like,
what's the intention of what
so is
you're
this an
watching
entertaining movie? Because I loved all superhero movies. I think
I'm looking for entertainment here.
Is it a good movie? I don't know. Probably not. But is it worth my $10 for my 1 hour? Fuck yeah. Like I fucking like it all. Same with the Star Wars conversations we've had in the past. You're analyzing it from a comic book or an artistic standpoint. I'm entertaining it as a fan of Star Wars. I'm down.
I would say
Go ahead.
The only movies that are actually the movies that get me to think analytically would be the ones that get an emotional reaction out of me.
Right.
So a Marvel movie, I'm not exactly going to be tearing up at all. But let's say we watch Interstellar, I'm going to analyze that fucking movie inside and out.
I like it.
Interstellar's a fan. There's a lot of movies of the last several years I think are good. We're gonna Embrace of the Serpent. Anyone?
No, but we're gonna stay in the 90s here on this Complex thing. Shout out to Complex because we're gonna have all you motherfuckers on this podcast at one time, whether you fucking know it or not. I've just skimmed through the comments of that Batman post, and the large majority obviously said The Dark Knight. But we're moving on. So they posted this: was the sequel better or not? And they're showing our boy Macaulay Culkin
Home
in
Alone
New York.
1 versus Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 1. Have you seen them, Mouse? This is right on the edge of your age.
You've seen both of them?
I've seen the two, yeah.
What do you got?
I think they are both excellent movies.
Let's go on the count of three. We'll say 1 or 2. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2. Oh!
Yeah, I would. 2 is much of the same as the first one.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Yeah.
So I think a sequel, a true successful sequel builds upon the first one in some way, takes it in a different direction.
Of course.
Doesn't just repeat it.
Here you're going as an artiste again.
I think Home Alone as a whole, it's so entertaining and light, as you would say. You go there just to enjoy yourself. The formula works again.
Right.
I could see picking 2 as a choice because New York has far more character than the suburb, I think, of Chicago that they're in. So they have definitely that. They also really tie in together in the first Home Alone movie. I like the whole concept that he sees this big, scary old guy, thinks he's a murderer. And then in the end, he saves him. He meets this homeless woman. It really humanizes the homeless, like the homeless plight of kind of like America or just like in New York. And so it makes her seem like a 3D character. And I think that's very touching. And they play up once again his relationship with his mom where they embrace, like it's really sweet. But it don't have John Candy in Home Alone 2. And he was great.
I would say the one thing I'd love to see in movies nowadays, I think nowadays in movies, they can actually push forward a little bit in terms of like how it's presented. And I mean, making things more edgy or adding a touch of maturity to it, if you will. And I think having a Home Alone
where someone gets shot and killed would be fantastic.
You want a violent version?
Where the violence is true to nature.
So it takes place in Compton?
So if someone was to actually get a fucking full can of paint to the head,
2x4,
you would see their head like snap off like from Mortal Kombat style.
I'm not against it.
I would say that would be very entertaining.
Is it still going to be a 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin, or we have like a thug in the that's 15
Who the fuck
years
knows?
old?
But I mean, think about how many scary movies.
Don't you curse at me, House.
Think about
House is on a roll. He's holding
who
that
the fuck knows and who cares?
Who knows, man?
I'm writing a script right now.
Think about how many scary movies have kids as the demon, as the devil, right? Like
I don't like scary movies, but continue.
But I'm just saying, like there's a lot of kids where like there's a lot of movies.
I don't know.
I mean,
a lot of movies.
Most of them relate around kids.
Annabelle or whatever the fuck. All right.
Yeah.
So quick argument for 2, and then we'll move on to the next movie. My argument for 2 is that as a child, I watched it probably similar age to Macaulay Culkin. I don't know how old he is, but he's probably around my age.
He's 40.
Oh, really?
Honestly, no, I think
I believe it.
He's born 79, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a generation ahead of us.
Whatever. Either way, you watch it around the time, you're similar-ish age, and the fact that he traveled and that you see things. I like movies as a kid and even now.
It's like a journey.
That's why I like Star Wars 2 or a different world. And that's kind of like you said, not only the character of the city of New York, but it's somewhere I'd never been. I literally hadn't been till last year, till I was 28 or whatever. I just like to see that people journey around and go through the city, running into different stores, the hotel scene, etc. Now, this isn't a this or that, but this is
one more than we talk about dating, son.
Oh, yeah. Then we're hopping to dating. Yeah. So we're going to the 90s, and then we're going to get Alice a girlfriend. We're going to interview him. But is this the hardest photo of the 90s? And hardest photo, bro. Hardest photo.
I'm going to know it.
I hope so. If you don't.
So no one's going to see it. Why are we bringing this up?
Because we'll say it.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't know it, our friendship may be over, bro.
Okay.
Why are you looking? Why are you teasing? Ready?
You're
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. The Mighty Ducks, of course. Quack.
I am not aware of this.
Quack. 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 Brian's like, what are you doing? You're overloading everyone's ears right now. Everyone just like blew up.
Look, Mighty Ducks.
Emilio Estevez is a national treasure.
He's a gangster.
Repo Man is a movie everyone should see if they're into the punk philosophy, in particular straight edge. Mighty Ducks.
Gold. I hate hockey, and it makes me like hockey.
Oh, dude.
It's teamwork. It's children. But let's move on to Aus. He's a single man living in the big city of Toronto right now in New York.
Rock hard in a funky place. I wanted to hear
he's staying rock hard.
So we've heard the millennial generation. I am going to call it out.
Him.
I'm going to call it the meme generation.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
how to sound dated 101.
Yeah.
So Alex, go on.
How do you kids date nowadays?
Yeah,
is it just Tinder?
Our penis is still a thing? Or
Quack.
Have you guys evolved?
Quack.
Sorry. You just kind of get out there and you hope for the best.
What does that mean? Does that mean go to bars?
Yeah, like what is the common way that you approach and attract women?
I'm just gonna speak on a general point of view, but I think a lot of people nowadays, especially my generation,
The memers.
Yeah, the millennials.
is not down for the commitment.
You're not down with the sickness?
You're just trying to fuck.
Wow. Why?
No, just hold hands. Why did it get quiet after I said that?
Yeah, it got really quiet, real quick. Ryan even
you guys are just
took
talking.
off one thing off his ear.
Yeah, he's into it.
He's listening. He
So
wants
you
to know.
think that your generation is more into just free love, as maybe that was into the 60s, or do you think something like a Tinder or people being less social brought that about the habits of recreational sex?
Or is it that people can't make any genuine human connections anymore?
Or there's
so
no
they're looking for
consistency.
superficial
There's no
things? Yeah.
consistency.
What do you think, Els?
What you got, bud?
First of all, there was like 10 questions thrown at me. Let's just clarify
Well,
that.
you want 12? We'll keep going.
Give me 15 and I can answer.
As soon as you went hard against us, we're coming hard back at you. What did he say? He yelled the microphone, saying, "Let me tell you a little something."
What if there was a kid and he was the devil and I wrote a horror film? Whoa, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it fucking matters.
Hey, I'm just saying, if Home Alone was a bit darker and edgier,
You think Grammy?
that would be worthy of a sequel.
I agree. I think
I'm
1 and
just
2 are
saying.
good. 3 was a little
I think
whack.
sequels are just kind of thrown in for the sake of sequels.
So by
It's
making
not-
it more
often.
violent, it's going to be better.
I think it would add that different perspective and twist that you mentioned.
Sure. So back to
I meant
dating.
evolving like the characters, you know.
Nah, fuck that.
Yeah, you can't do that in a kids movie. Continue.
Nah,
So dating.
boring.
Dating. Is Tinder where people meet?
Yes and no. I would say like there's just
Some,
the
Grindr,
convenience.
obviously, must be said.
The convenience of things is nice.
Yeah.
But I would say it does add a lot of disconnect. And I think the same problems that everyone has always had, which is, just finding that one person or finding a person.
Yeah, breaking the ice, perhaps.
Pretty much is, I think those problems have been magnified because of how saturated everything is. So girls trying to find that perfect guy, it just got harder. Things didn't get better because of Tinder.
They just watch him on YouTube in a bandana.
Yeah.
The
go.
perfect
God,
guy.
so fucking dreamy. So fucking dreamy.
So do you think that Tinder, never been on there? No.
Well, what do you guys think?
So
It's
that's
not
what I'm
an
asking.
interview.
So I think Tinder.
About Tinder or about dating in general right now?
But all of it. But I think Tinder in particular is such a huge thing over the last
Tinder
5
is
years.
just an off-brand of online dating. Like we can go on Plenty of Fish.
It's a little different.
Isn't that
No, it's a
pretty
little
much-
different. It's a little different because.
Why do you think it's different?
So I think online dating.
I think it's a social media equivalent of dating.
So here we go. So I think that it's trying to, and why it has been successful is not only did you say they want casual fucks,
Nice.
and everybody goes there for the same reason,
Nice.
but two,
I was on his profile says, not looking for a relationship, purely here for doinking.
I've
Casual
heard,
fucks.
what I've heard from the millennials and the memers is that is kind of a given from both the male and female counterpart. And two, I feel like the swipe and the connecting or however it works breaks the ice automatically. Whether they respond or not, you at least know like they did something to say yeah. Where it's different in a bar or a club or a gym,
which is far more exhilarating.
You have to break that eye contact, then you have to actually break
make
the
the
ice.
move. It's not this cold, like impersonal remove thing where it's like click, click, click. It's like, do you like it? Basically, what it is, it almost feels like you're applying for a job interview. Like, here's my resume, which is my Tinder profile. Are you interested? Oh, you're not interested? Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Or second interview
everything.
when you
It's
start
like, man, that's
chatting.
fucking boring. Also, in addition to that, people try and game it too much. So what I mean, guys and girls. You have the guys on top of tigers trying to look badass. Oh, look at me! I got a
guy
really
on
cool
top of a
social life.
tiger?
Yeah,
Is that your go-to?
yeah. I mean, I've used Tinder one time in like 2013. I'm like, this is trash. I went on one date and the person didn't look like her photos at all.
You got
And I'm like-
catfished?
and I'm like, this is just, and I'm like, you know what? This is way worse than just approaching someone from the street. I think also we put our best foot forward when it comes to a Tinder profile, so you don't get the honest, realistic perspective of someone. I've yet to hear someone say like, "Man, I met this girl on Tinder," and like I looked at her and thought, "Yeah, she looked all right. She looked phenomenal person. I would really connect with personality. I didn't think I would." I'm like, I usually hear the opposite.
Yeah,
so.
that conversation spans many a genre, right? Like an Instagram, like
Yeah,
even a
everything.
YouTube, right? Everyone's trying to put their best light or their highlight reel
I'm
out
so
there.
motivated right now, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, let's film you when you get depressed. How about that? Like, you only see the positive side.
So what's the ratio you can say about yourself or not, or maybe your hypothetical ratio of people that actually have swiped, connected, and gone on dates, like real dates, trying to maybe make a girlfriend or boyfriend out of these Tinder actions?
It all depends on communication and who's swiping. Because I think there's different people out there. That's one. Two, if you're going on there and your intent is to just fuck, it's going to be clear. Or the person who isn't going to pick up on it, so let's say like the girl in that case, just doesn't have enough filters pretty much to filter you out from the other guys, and that's pretty much where her side of experience comes in. But for a guy, I think the biggest part of experience when it comes to dating is communication. And I think you guys, as the older generation, can fucking agree with me on this one, where communication is something that this generation absolutely lacks. And I think the one thing that I could say about my dating experience has been honesty and communication. And there's been times where I just went out and literally it was just for physical reasons. And I'd be like, hey, this is why I'm here. Cool with that? You down?
I like
Let's
that.
do it.
He shows up better places.
I do
with
think
no
it's weird
clothes on.
because me and Omar's generation are the generation that started video games, kind of. Like we're the ones that really got into it. Nintendo, Super Nintendo was kind of in our core of our youth.
Genesis.
And then all the way up to now where shit's really advanced hard over the last 20
You
years.
kids don't know what it was like to go from 2D to 3D. What you know about that?
I blew in fucking cassettes, bro. Come on.
Blue
excuse
cassettes?
us?
What are you even talking about now?
Where I don't, there's obviously people in our group or not even generations, it's more like high school range, right? Like the people that were in our class or the 4 years above or below us. That's kind of the gap between us and you,
pretty much,
rather than actual generation per se.
The gaps have gotten smaller, that's for sure.
Well, there's definitely people that grew up in me and Omar's times that are total dweebs and we're stuck into Nintendo and can't have a normal human conversation.
Yeah.
But I find, and maybe this is the old Mike talking, that I find they're more
Michael.
that I do find it's more common now that people literally can't have a fucking conversation that
or without checking their phone constantly.
or
or something.
no, not
I'm
talking
talking about
that.
attention.
Not even that.
To have a quality conversation.
Because I check my phone all the time too, because it's our job and we're checking this and that and that and emails. But I'm talking about people that literally are socially fucked up because of how many hours they spent staring at an iPad, at a Xbox or whatever. From
as Alex just begins to check his phone to make a point.
I really have to refresh my feed right now.
Literally though, like people in high school right now and stuff are so fucked. They're all like that.
That's a gig I'll pull with Alex where he'll ask me a question. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just refreshing my feed on Instagram. Just give me a second and I'll get
too
back
many
to
likes.
you.
I'm counting likes, bro.
Now, Else, let me ask you this. Do you remember when you first got on social media, started using it? Because I would assume for you, obviously, you got on earlier than when we got on, respectively, for our age.
Probably around the age of 14.
Yeah, or even like your first cell phone.
Yeah, that was in grade 7, but it was a flip phone.
Yeah. My rule was in my family, I wasn't allowed to get a cell phone until I could drive.
Yep.
So for me, it was like end of freshman year, sophomore year of high school.
That's like 16.
and then I wasn't even allowed to use it. It was like, we're calling you. Like, all right, mom.
Yeah. Do you see any of the potential pitfalls? Do you feel there are any when we talk about either like social media, dating, or dating in the 21st century? Now we're talking like kind of, it's like 2018.
Besides that obvious catfish or something.
Yeah.
I think like there's a slight shift happening right now where there's actually an interest again to go out and like chill at a fucking board game cafe.
A what?
Yeah, those are a thing and shit.
Yeah,
or even like the regular
and
game cafe you guys took us to.
Whatever. Like
yeah.
I think there's an interest now to actually get out.
Yeah.
That's one. And two, I think the novelty of these things has wore off a little bit. Where at first when Tinder first came out, there was unlimited swipes, but then they added limited swipes, and then it became really commercial where you can, as a fucking guy.
It used to be an underground movement, bro, Tinder.
You're so hipster, you're over
Pretty
Tinder.
much. But I think like
super likes.
Guys were just like fucking liking, and then basically they added more features. It was like 50 swipes a day. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it became Tinder Gold, where you pay $7 a month for extra super likes.
Monetize it.
Yeah, I like it. And I do see that.
And
trend.
now there's ads.
Yeah, from the outside, I don't see that trend as much, but it makes sense to me. Same thing with even within the fitness industry, where it's super cool and you're not legitimate until you compete, and then everyone gets sick of competing, burnt out, and then they're talking against competing because it made me sick or it made me beat up or maybe, and then all these people are back for moderation. It's kind of like that, where maybe our generation was really into going out with friends and movies.
Dialectics, it'd be called.
Yeah, well, I believe my high school stuff, we were boring, normal. We went bowling, we went to movies, we'd hang out at Taco Bell together, right?
Yeah.
Where we didn't even have online games, like it wasn't a thing. If my buddies,
you want to see someone, you had to go and see them. Like there was an easy way of communicating.
Even if we wanted to play video games, you had to come to my house and we could play Halo on the same thing. Where it wasn't until I was in the college range where online became the norm, whereas obviously kids 10 years or more younger than us, they're playing online from day one, so they don't even have to invite Timmy over. They just call him on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Tinder is, where people are going back and forth. And first, like you said, it was just so convenient and easy and the hip thing. But now they're realizing like, shit, I don't know how to talk to a girl once I even do meet her.
I'm just going to say this really quickly. We have looked at these things from a very negative light. And, and I think like it's...
Protect Tinder, bro. Get your Tinder sponsorship back.
Defend Tinder.
Fuck Tinder.
Defend your generation.
Fuck Grindr. And fuck Bumble.
Els cautiously looks at the camera. Fuck Grindr, man. Get it, Els. Be your edgy self.
I would just say, like, there's a positive from it. Also, back to online gaming really quick. One of my best friends and somebody who I consider an online a photography mentor to me is someone who I met through the PlayStation Network.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's
and
cool.
I would say that's a positive that came out of an unexpected place.
Me and Omar met through the internet.
Yeah.
I would say online dating. I've made friends from Tinder. Whether we've gone on dates and we're friends now.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk on a regular basis. Hey, how are you doing? Like, just real friendships.
Gotcha.
And I would say, with all these things, there's always an abundance of negativity, and it all depends on the perspective that you look at it from. And that's coming from me.
I like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Darkness, I was going to say two things. In the first place, nothing will replace couch co-op. So I play a lot of online games. I play a lot of games in my day.
Yeah.
And nothing will replace having a friend next to you, sit your ass
staring
down,
at your fucking screen while you chase them down.
As you play together on the exact same thing. Co-op. So I think, as humans, naturally, the way we're wired, we will crave being next to each other, communicating in a very real example. I think they call it the Neanderthal principle, where we crave things that remind us of being human.
Or the tribe theory or whatever.
Yeah, if you see something that's not quite, that's what they said when robots first started coming about, like just the facial recognition, that looked a little off, and so people were thrown really off. It freaked them out. Like, it looked so weird to them that it looked beyond not being simply human. So I think couch co-op and all those things will always have a place. I think meeting in person will always have a place. I have to ask Alice a very serious question now, because someone, I guess, that we know that we worked with together, that he introduced me to, one of his first questions, we're having sushi. He sat down and he was talking with me. He's like, oh, cool, man. And he asked me, he's like, Omar, so what's your kill count? He asked me. I didn't know what it was until I was explained. So I was
not how many humans you killed.
No. I was
that would be a real kill
explain
count.
what it means.
Hit us, bud.
And then I want to know.
What's a kill count?
Kill count is how many women you have had sexual intercourse with.
Yeah, I remember dying on the inside when I heard that. Am I just too old? Is this what's going on here? Is that
I don't know what kids
about?
Yeah, slaying dragons and all these kids.
How
all
many
these
dragons
kids,
have you slain? I'm like, what?
All these kids reminds me of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what these fucking kids are doing anymore.
I think one of the best movies to explain things recently was actually 21 Jump Street, where basically what they showed is
where the nerd became
the nerd became cool. Like, when with our generation, where what Channing Tatum was the cool dude, was the football guy, and now he basically, someone says something to him, he punches him down.
Yeah, I tried to explain that. I don't know how well I did in a past podcast we just had, where I was trying to talk about I just wore this shirt because I wanted Omar and Alice to think I was cool and Stephanie to think I was hot. Or now I'm wearing shirts because I like this shirt, and that's a big thing that happens somewhere in between probably age 17 and maybe age 28, depending on the person.
Alice, let me ask you this. When you say, obviously it's not all negative, what would you say are some of the biggest positives, biggest takeaways from you from using social media or just interacting online?
I would say just the unexpected connections. That's one. Two is there is the reality of an introvert, someone who is shy, and that's not necessarily someone who grew up around technology and is technically socially just not adept, basically. It's not just that. I would say there are shy people still, regardless of technology or not.
Gives them a way of
generation,
communicating with people.
And I think that's given a platform for people like that to speak up. But on the other side of it, there's also that really shitty negative, where basically,
you said we spoke too negative.
I know.
Hey, Alice,
I was going to go negative.
I'll flip it. I'll say the same platform has given people the ability to speak up who are naturally introverts, has made it even easier for people who are not introverts.
Or who are you referring to? But who are you referring to?
Or people that are dickheads to have a bigger voice.
Pretty much. Like a podcast.
Pretty much.
Or a troll. Oh, no, I was talking trolls.
I'm just joking. Yeah. I think it is the truth that just because you're allowed to have an opinion doesn't mean you should be sharing your opinion.
Sure.
If it's not.
What does Momma say?
If you add nothing of value.
Yeah, what does Momma say? Oh, that's what she said.
What?
If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
There you go. Oh, was that a Joe Dirt?
No, I think that's actually just an old wives' tale. Yeah, but another one is I like Becky and she liked me too. She showed me her boobies and I like them too.
That's got to be Adam Sandler, right?
Yep, Waterboy.
Yeah, Waterboy.
Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher.
Love that movie.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head though. Where again, for some people, it could definitely be very positive. It does seem to me, and you look at some countries, and there's a lot of factors at play here. But in Japan,
we're general as fuck.
In Japan and South Korea, where there are definite issues within the society, where some people, like just reading some articles written by Japanese individuals, that social disconnect from being either having a job that consumes your life, so you work 60 hours a week, and then a lot of people just interacting on an impersonal level through social media or online, and so they don't get that human connection, just feeling really, really disconnected. And I think it has manifested itself in a lot of the art that comes out. So if you look at Japanese horror, it's the most existential horror I've ever come across. Pulse as a movie is an example. Uzumaki, Jinji Ito, I think it'd be pronounced, this horror manga writer. Some of the darkest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, just
because he's so isolated, you thinking in his head?
Condemning kind of modern society. Because they're basically what I feel here in North America would be like if population density increases even further and people just work even more hours.
Or if every city was like New York.
Yeah, it's like a natural extension of things. So it's just interesting for me to think. I see Els has removed the microphone.
He's
from
out.
His mouth.
He's checked out.
I'm listening.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, Els, here's something. You've been working with me for a few years. What are some things that people might not know about me?
I would say, well, I think the podcast has probably opened that up
a little bit, huh? It's good. It's a great idea. That was the goal.
Can I just add really quickly
to
the camera?
Hit it, buddy.
Talk to him.
I can vouch for you.
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. This is for sure true.
Many of times did I mention, hey, Omar, one of the strongest things about your channel is how well you communicate to the camera. And oftentimes your biggest limiting factor for your content is the length of the content, because nobody watches a YouTube video beyond 2 minutes.
Or too specific of a content.
I will 100% give Els credit. Els said I should start a podcast before, quite frankly, I think anyone knew what a podcast was really about. This is like 2014.
Before people really gave a shit about podcasts.
About that time I had my own podcast.
But when did Rogan start his podcast? What year would that be?
Way before.
20 years ago. 20 years ago. No, I swear. He's
been around for a while.
He was on like Putfile and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been doing it. Yeah, he's a very bad
But
example.
I would say the biggest thing about it is one thing people don't know about you. Let me think. You're way more critical than meets the eye, basically.
Go on.
So he's a dickhead. Continue.
Go on.
No. I would say it's a game of chess, and you're one move ahead, and the other player doesn't realize it.
Oh,
wow. So Mike described me as the devil. Al said I'm playing chess with everyone, or I'm one move ahead, and they don't even realize I'm playing chess with them.
But I'm gonna balance things out, and I'll say it's all with good intent.
Oh,
that's the one thing I've noticed. Yes.
No, what's that line? It became an internet. Thank you. It became like an internet line where someone said, I forget, they're playing like an online game and said, "We're playing checkers the whole time," and he was playing fifth dimensional Chinese chess on us. I'm like, what?
Sounds like a World of Warcraft
it was a great line. It was a great line. Let me ask then maybe a final few things else. Do you ever feel separated? Like, do you feel there is a difference in the generation? So, like, from your age to like the kids that are coming up now that might be 16,
16
or to people
20
that are older than you by like 6 years. Do you feel? So, I could say for myself, I do feel people that are older than me. I do feel there are some distinct differences, and then people younger than me, same thing. Do you feel that at all, or do you feel things are blending, or what?
I would say in the same ways that technology has created a bigger separation in terms of like, oh, what the fuck are kids doing with this app now versus, oh, I'm still trying to figure out Snapchat. It's also created a nice blend as well where the biggest platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, is bringing all of these ages together. I don't know. What's so funny, bro? What's so funny, bro? What's the giggles?
What you should see off camera, guys, is we try to have both Els, who works with me and does a fantastic job, and Ryan, who works with me for the supplement company that I run, Kaizen Training, all our stuff. He's here. We call him our podcast manager. He's off camera. He's been making, if you're watching the video, he's been making gestures at me, and so when Els has been talking, he's just been joking. Els and Ryan get along great, so Ryan, I think, has basically been trying to make me laugh as Els shares a story. That's all, buddy.
You got anything to say, Ryan? No?
I just want to say that Ryan probably has, some of the best hair I've seen in the game.
They're trying to egg you on, buddy. Don't let them do it. They're egging you on to grab a microphone and fire back. You just go back to your nap.
He's putting a scarf on. Oh, there you go. He looks like me right now. He looks so cute. You were saying, Alice, about the generations and social media and everything kind of coming together.
I would just say the platforms have opened up the room for all ages. just due to accessibility and technology getting cheaper. So kid can have it and a senior can have it.
It has, I feel like the time is now, or even a couple of years ago, that all generations are now on social media. Where Facebook 5 years ago was still a high school college deal, maybe an early 20s, mid 20s deal, because that was the first generation. When I was in high school, you couldn't sign up for Facebook. You had to have a college ID or email. And then as soon as I got into college, they opened up to everybody. But now everyone's mom's on Facebook. Most moms are on Instagram. Not maybe as much as Snapchat or Tinder or the other things, but they're all slowly getting there.
I just want to add, like, honestly, now more than ever, it's like so important to be critical because of
you just
trends.
call me critical.
No, fuck. Like the word critical can be applied to different things. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm just saying in terms of social media, like it's just
try to read through some shit.
Yeah. Like it's just it's crazy seeing trends, and I mean from the world of photography to politics, there's always trends happening, and I never see people question it. They just go with it.
Yeah,
sure. And that really fucking bugs me because I'm just looking at it and I'm like, why do you just take this at face value and just let it enter your life without
being critical?
Sort of,
I actually 100% know what you mean. I'll just say there's been, obviously, like on YouTube and a lot of other places, big political shifts is an example, not to get into it, but just as a result of maybe one dominant force or something happening where everyone suddenly, it's like a paradigm shift that occurs and no one is really quite aware of it. It's almost like you keep squatting, you have a hip shift, and then you just keep squatting with that hip shift.
It's only going to get worse.
And you don't change anything whatsoever about it, or thinking like, why do I even have a hip shift in the first place? Let me ask you this, Alice. You are the classic person. I would say I would classify you as an artist, and here's why: because you study your craft. No, I'm being serious, and I would not call a lot of people artists because you suffer over your art. You think about it meticulously. For those that don't know, Else_photo is his Instagram account where he takes photographs. I actually think Else is very talented.
He's
as
good.
a photographer. I think you do a very good job. I see you suffering over it, where you'll think about it, you'll try and make choices. Is that something just intuitive with you? Like when you talk about that, I have things I'm passionate about. Like, so for me, music consumes me when I do it. Is that just something that naturally came to you? Is it because you just want to do a good job at what you do? Is it just you like it so much?
I think it's all about the big picture. So big picture is I do want to make this a career. The other part of it is in order for me to make it a career, I need to reach the heights and levels that other established photographers have already gotten to. So if I feel like my work on terms of quality and execution is right here, and the kind of work I aspire to get as a photographer in a career would be up here, then I have to be twice as critical at my work now and continue being critical to keep going up the levels, basically. And I think the whole idea of suffering as well, like I just want to add to that, is this is kind of where social media can come in, and I can really emphasize that, I suffer over my art and write lengthy posts under everything, which I've done once or twice.
Captions.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah. But at the same time, I want to give it a good purpose, and I want to give it meaning and not just at face value. I think social media can amplify these things and create a douche.
Yeah, false stories.
Personally, a douche basically out of the artist. Yeah. And or you can be a marketer, and you could be a douche in that sense, where everything you do is based on your brand. And then the other side of it would be just completely disconnecting, and I've been trying to find that balance. So coming from a 12-week digital marketing course, I was all about it. I hunted down every single person who I classified as an influencer, and I wanted to shoot with them. But that's when I let people take advantage of me, and I gave out free work and free work and free work.
I'm sorry to hear that, Alex.
No, but I'm saying like to get to the balance, you got to go through like different shifts, basically. Of
you
like
got to eat shit.
Ecstasy, you got to eat shit. Agony.
Pretty much.
No, I've got along with you well. This is our second big project. We work together. I respect you highly as a photographer, but I respect you even more now, as your perspective on that is very good for a millennial. Where it's something I talk about a long time, is that if you focus enough time on patience and mastering your craft, the rest of it you'll just kind of learn along the way, rather than like you even just put in perfect perspective that you took a digital marketing class and tried to become the expert before you put in the hours or put in the work. And it's not necessarily the 10,000 hour rule or whatever, but it's the fact that you actually care about your craft, you focus on your craft, and the rest, if you're doing it genuinely, together. It will follow. I never
become really good, and guess what? Shit will start to click for you.
Yeah, I never thought at 18 years old, when I started reading the book Super Training and West Side Book of Methods, like, I'm going to share to the world all my knowledge of training on podcasts, and I'm going to be in seminars, and everyone's going to want to learn from me. I'm going to be this. I just said, I really want to be a better performing athlete myself, and I want to teach other people how to be better performing athletes, and I'm going to dive into that, and I've spent a fucking decade trying to dive into that, and the rest of the fun shit kind of starts to hop on your back along the way, and I think you're doing a great job of that. And to compliment Omar before I cut this off, because I'm mostly a dickhead, and so this is the last time I'm going to be nice. To compliment Omar, you surround yourself with a very lucky man. You're a very lucky couple to be together. It's a good little duo. But even if you do try to master your craft and go about things with the right perspective, it doesn't always work out. So you are in a good position to be very successful, and I have zero doubt you and your llama will be.
Oh, wow.
Sick.
I was going to say, we didn't even get to talk to wrestling. We're going to wrap this one up.
Okay, just one last thing. Best mic skills in WWE history. Best mic skills.
And do you
Top
think
three.
we could be wrestlers?
In history.
Oh, and do you think we could be wrestlers?
Could we be a tag team?
Forget the physique thing, because whatever. And
No, dude, they test for steroids now, so we'll fit it right in.
I would say without a doubt, yes, you two can be a tag team.
Yeah, so what you guys don't realize is that Els, like, this is true. We're not joking. Els is a big wrestling fan, but like isn't a casual fan.
No, he's a 9 out of 10, maybe a 10 out of 10 fan, and I'd consider myself like a 6 or 7 out of 10.
I'm a mark.
Yeah,
that's basically what
you're
I am.
in.
Yeah.
So yeah, best 3 mic skills since let's say the 90s or 80s and up. Best 3 mic skills.
Okay, I would say Kevin Owens is one of the most recent ones. I'm going to name him before I name anybody else, just because I feel like people are going to assume I'm going to say like Shawn Michaels or Chris Jericho. No.
And this isn't in order. This is just
3
good
order.
ones. Yeah,
no
3
order.
good
I think
ones.
there's a lot of greatness out there. So The Rock, hands down.
Bro. If you smell...
Kevin Owens, the obvious, because he can riff, and he was influenced by one of the biggest legends in wrestling, Stone Cold, and apparently this story is really famous. Kevin Owens was at an airport. He bumped into Stone Cold before he was famous, and Stone Cold basically said, "Whatever you do, kid, don't shut up. Just keep talking. Keep talking."
I wish Stone Cold would have gave me that.
And he took...
I think someone must have told us that at some point.
He took that advice and he ran with it, and now he is like one of the most popular guys, regardless of his physique. And he's basically...
Are you saying he's not jacked?
I'm saying he's a fat, middle-aged man. That's what he is.
Probably if they tested him for steroids, no one would be shocked that he's not on it.
But he is beyond athletic.
Yeah. That's a cool story. And even our guy DeFranco, who's worked with him, says he's super athletic.
Absolutely.
Who's your third?
Come on. Stone Cold.
Yeah, it has to be.
Stone Cold.
Has to be.
Yeah.
What?
Excuse me?
What? I said house. You stepped in my house. What?
You sound like you've been smoking cigarettes for 30 years rather than...
That wasn't that bad.
And that's the bottom line.
There you go.
You turned
Stone Cold.
You turned into Bruce Buffer.
Shit. No, I was trying. That's it. I was just trying.
You turned into Bruce Buffer.
Hold on, buddy. I was going to say, so that's the fan. Who is one person
that's the bottom
you
line.
want to do like a photo shoot with? Like an ideal world, someone that's living right now and like, you know, you can get to.
Basically, they're going to come on this podcast and you're going to do it, so might as well just say it.
Yeah, so just say it.
Bucket list shoot? I would say The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah.
Johnson. DJ.
Who?
Dwayne.
Only because I'm
Mr.
The Rock
Stone.
hipster. I was a fan before he was famous, and I would say a lot of wrestling fans can say that.
No, 100%. I was way more into The Rock back then than now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Brahma Bowl.
But he's still great. I mean, he still needs to come on this podcast.
but the Brahma Bowl.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
But the Brahma Bowl.
Let me recover the fumbles by saying I used to think he was super cool, but you should still come on this podcast. Podcast. Well, I'll say I want to thank you for being on this. I think you did a fantastic job. I think your mic skills being on here were quite good.
Especially for your first run, buddy.
Your first run.
Pop that cherry.
Actually, undercover Els, can I say this or no?
Yes.
That Els was considering at some point in his life starting a podcast because he listens to so many.
Yeah.
I think he have some valuable things.
And he'll be on again. He's with part of our crew. He's part of one of our the homies. So you'll hear again from Els on a majority and variety of topics. We appreciate you.
We appreciate all of you. Make sure if you like this podcast,
subscribe. We saw that
leave a rating and review and a check out one else_photo. You might be wondering how you spell Els. Let me tell you something right now. It's AOUS_photo.
AOUS. We noticed that only 40% of you were subscribed. So subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and we'll see you in the next episode.